Aging is adaptation. That idea is simple, but it changes how you interpret everything that follows. Most people grow up believing aging means decline. That strength fades, energy lowers, capacity narrows, and over time, that belief becomes expectation. Expectation shapes behavior. Behavior shapes stimulus. Stimulus shapes biology. Biology responds to what it repeatedly experiences. It does not respond to hope. It does not respond to fear. It responds to demand. Adaptation is the governing rule. The body adapts upward. The body adapts downward. It adapts to what it practices consistently. So the real question is not whether you are aging. The real question is, we often confuse stagnation with aging. They feel similar, but they are driven by different signals. Aging is chronological. Stagnation is physiological. When movement reduces, when challenge decreases, when novelty disappears, the body receives fewer signals to maintain capacity. Muscle requires mechanical load. Bone requires stress. Neural sharpness requires engagement. When those inputs decrease, efficiency increases. Energy is conserved. Reserve narrows. Over time, that narrowing is interpreted as aging. But what changed first was demand. Biology responds to stimulus, and stimulus determines direction. The body responds to demand. That principle governs every system. It preserves what it believes is necessary, and it reallocates what appears unnecessary. Muscle tissue is metabolically expensive to maintain. It requires energy, protein turnover, hormonal support. Bone density requires mechanical load. Without load, bone mineral density gradually adjusts downward. Neural sharpness requires active engagement, complex thought, novel movement, new environments. When those inputs are present, capacity is reinforced. When those inputs decrease, the system shifts toward efficiency. Energy is conserved. Reserve narrows, not because the body is failing, because it is adapting to lower demand. Demand determines preservation. Strength sends a signal, a clear biological signal. When you lift something heavy, mechanoreceptors in muscle fibers activate. Tension increases. Load is detected. That detection triggers adaptation pathways. Protein synthesis increases. Neuromuscular coordination refines. Bone receives compressive force. The system interprets this as demand. Demand communicates relevance. Relevance communicates priority. Priority influences preservation. When strength is practiced consistently, the body allocates resources to maintain it. Strength training is not symbolic. It is communication at the cellular level. Signal determines direction. Stagnation narrows, not suddenly, gradually. If you stop reaching overhead, shoulder range decreases slightly. If you stop squatting deeply, hip mobility reduces slightly. If you stop lifting heavier objects, grip strength declines incrementally. If you stop navigating new environments, spatial awareness adjusts. Each change feels small, almost insignificant, but repetition reshapes capacity. The nervous system reinforces what is used. Connective tissue adapts to range. Muscle adapts to load. Small reductions accumulate. Over months and years, capacity mirrors practice. Narrowing is cumulative adaptation. Direction follows repetition. What most people misunderstand is the order of events. Capacity narrows. Then age is blamed, but capacity often shifts after demand shifts. Expectation adjusts first. Effort adjusts next. Stimulus follows effort. Consider a simple pattern. Someone stops lifting heavier objects. They choose lighter loads. Grip receives less stimulus. Protein synthesis reduces. Strength gradually decreases. Months later, lifting feels harder. The difficulty is attributed to age. But the shift began with reduced demand. Age influences adaptation. Stimulus directs it. Understanding sequence changes interpretation. And interpretation influences action. The nervous system adapts too. It follows the same principle. It reinforces what is practiced. If challenge is approached regularly, tolerance expands. If discomfort is avoided consistently, tolerance narrows. Neural pathways strengthen through repetition. The brain conserves energy by automating patterns. If effort is repeated, confidence stabilizes. If effort is reduced, uncertainty increases. Exposure widens the tolerance window. Avoidance narrows it. This is not personality. It is neural efficiency. The nervous system preserves what it rehearses. Direction follows repetition in the brain the same way it does in muscle. Consider a common pattern. Someone begins asking for help with heavier tasks. Carrying groceries, lifting luggage, moving furniture. The decision feels practical. Load decreases slightly. Grip tension reduces. Motor units are recruited less frequently. Protein synthesis adjusts downward. Over weeks, strength output shifts subtly. Over months, lifting feels heavier. The change appears sudden, but the adaptation was gradual. Stimulus decreased. The body recalibrated. Capacity mirrored demand. Small reductions compounded. Direction followed repetition. Identity directs adaptation. The body responds to stimulus. Behavior determines stimulus. Identity influences behavior. If internal language shifts, expectation shifts. If expectation shifts, effort adjusts. Effort determines mechanical load. Effort determines movement variability. Effort determines exposure to challenge. When someone sees themselves as capable, they lift slightly heavier. They walk slightly farther. They attempt slightly more. Those small differences alter stimulus. Altered stimulus influences preservation pathways. Hormonal signaling adjusts. Neuromuscular recruitment adapts. Over time, biology reflects identity-driven behavior. Belief guides behavior. Behavior guides biology. After 40, stimulus matters more. Recovery dynamics shift gradually. Margins narrow slightly. Energy allocation becomes more selective. The body still adapts, but the threshold for preservation becomes clearer. Mechanical load must be intentional. Movement variability must be maintained. Neuromuscular engagement must remain active. Small inputs compound faster, both upward and downward. Consistency becomes more influential than intensity. Repetition determines direction. When stimulus is deliberate, preservation follows. When stimulus is absent, efficiency increases. After 40, precision matters. Stimulus determines trajectory. If aging is adaptation, then direction can be influenced. You do not fight time. You adjust signals. Signals are mechanical. Signals are neurological. Signals are behavioral. Lift slightly heavier than last month. Walk slightly farther than last week. Learn something slightly unfamiliar. Expose yourself to manageable challenge. Those small increases alter stimulus. Altered stimulus reinforces preservation. The body responds to consistency. The nervous system responds to repetition. Identity responds to evidence. Signal determines allocation. Allocation determines capacity. Shift the signal, and direction follows. Aging is adaptation. That principle applies whether we notice it or not. The body allocates resources based on demand. The nervous system reinforces what it rehearses. Behavior determines exposure. Exposure determines preservation. Time moves forward regardless. Adaptation follows direction. Direction follows repetition. Repetition follows choice. Small choices accumulate. Load accumulates. Movement accumulates. Language accumulates. Identity accumulates. Over years, capacity reflects what was practiced. The question is simple. What are you adapting to, right now?